Call me Adventure 3 the way, you know what? Your wife, she's now with me. Hey everybody, what's up? Welcome back to the Game Sketch. Today and only today, I actually want to sit down and talk about Sonic Adventure 3. Now the reason I bring this up is because recently there was an interview with Izuka, as there always is an interview with Izuka about Adventure 3 and how, you know, Sega wants to do it and how he wants to do it, but it's something, you know, that he wants, you know, to have the stars aligned for. And I think, you know, this brings up a topic on the timeline of, bro, it's up to you to do it. You know what I mean? It's up to you to make a Sonic Adventure game. But I want to talk about a bit more like why that's not as easy as it seems and what the, you know, the significance of an Adventure 3 is. And of course, if you like videos like this, make sure to subscribe to your boy, support the content, and of course, let's see what's cooking. Now, recently, Izuka's just been doing a lot of, you know, the rounds going around. There's even actually, before I get into Sonic Adventure, he was actually talking about the advanced games and how he'd like to finally remaster, remake those games, which I don't know if I'd want those games remade. It would be kind of interesting to see, but at the very least, you know, give me widescreen remastered Sonic Advanced games, because those games are special to a lot of people. And it's not something a lot of people get to play, you know, have access to. Obviously, when it comes to GBA emulators and stuff, they're a dime a dozen. You can get them on your phone, you can get them on your laptop, you can get them on a toaster at this point. But yes, there's ways to play those, but not in a full, you know, way. And also, I think those games deserve some fixes, right? I think those games deserve, you know, extra lives and all that. But like I said, we'll talk about Advance another time. But speaking on Sonic Adventure 3, right? What does Izuka mean when he says the stars line? Well, that's a big ask, right? Because Sonic Adventure 3 is effectively Sega's, or Sonic Team, I think's magnum opus. I think that is a game that is going to define the company for a long time when they release it. And in some ways, is something that is probably going to be one of their best-selling games ever. I mean, you would think about Sonic Adventure 2, not only is one of the best-selling Sonic games, but it's also one of the most beloved, right? And you think of Sonic Adventure 1 and 2, how they've been remastered, re-released. You know, people love those games, and even if they don't age the best, there is so much nostalgia and love for those games to this day. I mean, you to this day see the ramifications of Sonic Adventure 2 on this series. I mean, Shadow entirely, right? Everything about him is still alive to this day. You know, you have Rouge the Bat that was introduced, still massively popular to this day. You know, you still have stuff like the Space Colony Arc, Supersonic Shadow. Like, obviously, Supersonic came before that, but there's just a lot of things, you know, from Sonic Adventure series that really, you know, still has a foothold on a chokehold on the series, and that the series still aims to recreate, right? But before we go to Sonic Adventure 3, I think a few things need to happen. One, I think Sega, or Sonic Team specifically, needs to be in an incredible position. And what I mean by that is I think Sonic Team needs to be in a place where the fans are fully interested in them. I think they need a few games, like I would say maybe 3 or 4 mainline games that are doing super well before they even think of tackling Adventure 3, because Sonic Adventure 3 is not something you can recreate. That is a genie in a bottle moment. You know, that's a once in a lifetime thing. You can't recreate the moment of making a Sonic Adventure 3. Now, obviously, I know some people argue Sonic 06 is Sonic Adventure 3. Some people argue that even Sonic Unleashed is Sonic Adventure, you know, because it's called Sonic Adventure Worldwide in Japan or something. But you know what I mean. I think Sega even knows what they mean when you say a Sonic Adventure 3, right? We need to be at a place, Sonic Team, where they're completely healthy development wise. We're not at a point where, you know, there's a mistake here or there. I think that game needs to be phenomenal, right, from start to finish. And while Sonic Frontiers reviewed pretty well, a lot of fans love that game. We're on step 1. We're about to get Shadow Generations, which is, you know, a game within Sonic Generations, right? And we're going to see how Shadow Generations turns out. And based on those reviews, we're on another step, right? But I do think we need, at the very least, Frontiers a sequel and maybe one other game in their belt before we really go like, okay, man, no, a Sonic Adventure 3 under this current Sonic Team is the wave, right? I think that's a massive deal that people aren't factoring. I think that the team, even the development team themselves, need to be in a place where they feel confident to do that. Because, dude, if they just wanted money, they could have made Sonic Adventure 3 forever ago. You know, they could have just put that game out, and regardless, to be honest, of a lot of the quality of it, that shit would have sold on name alone, right? I think even they understand the name Adventure holds weight to it, right? And they know it's a big deal. You know, same thing with Half-Life, right? You know, how they have Half-Life Alyx, which is the VR game. They could have called that shit Half-Life 3 and called it a day to make money, but they understand the importance of that number, right? And a lot of companies, I think, understand the importance of numbers. And we saw what happened when Sega didn't care about numbers and they made Sonic 4. That was a big deal. You know, if they had called that, you know, Sonic Mobile Pocket Adventure, shit would have gone a lot more better, you know, maybe reception wise than, you know, calling that game Sonic 4, you know, a sequel to the original trilogy of Sonic games, which are iconic. And so I think on just a surface level thinking process, yeah, they need to be in a great position, not only financially, but I think, you know, in terms of fan love and fanfare and everything. And like I said, I think we're getting there. We're even getting there popularity wise, right? Sonic Movie 3 getting insane, you know, social media posts, and it's blowing up. I think that movie's gonna make a lot of money at the box office. We're seeing just in general, the Year's Shadow, you can tell, just has a bigger budget. You know, we're getting an animated series. There's a manga going on in Japan. We are getting just a lot of stuff about Shadow. You know, you have the movie, you had Sonic Prime even feature Shadow, and people love them there. Like, you are getting those elements and things in there, but we still need a bit more. Another big thing is I do think before they jump into Adventure 3, I would like them to jump back into Sonic Adventure 1 and 2. I think those games deserve a, you know, Crash or Spyro like remake, reimagining. Now, the difference between Sonic and Crash Spyro is a little different, where those games have a story. And I don't really know how you can recreate that style of story and narrative as, you know, as similarly as you did in the past, without things being a little bit goofy. I don't think they're going to be bringing back the old voice actors. I think it would be the current cast of Sonic characters, right? But how do you do that old school style of game without really changing a lot of it? Well, I'm almost thinking, right, and this might be a weird opinion, I almost wonder if they would go the FF7 remake or RE2 remake style when it comes to a Sonic Adventure 1 and 2 remake, where I think Resident Evil is a better way to put it, because FF7 is like a completely different take on everything. Whereas if they went the Resident Evil 2 remake style, where it's basically the original game by, you know, DNA, by location, by music, by level, but it is like completely different in visuals, in terms of what set pieces happen. Some things are different than the original. I think they would have to do that for Sonic Adventure 1 and 2, right? I think Station Square being like a small hub of like two little spots would be weird in a modern game, right? I think they would expand Station Square for the first game. I think they would find a way to interconnect the stories a bit more. Obviously, I think, you know, Big's campaign might be completely revamped. I think there's still a lot of things they can fix and revamp in the original Sonic Adventure to make things better. Obviously, when it comes to Sonic Adventure 2, you know, the most notable things that you'd have to work on would be the mech levels and the, you know, Chaos Emerald hunting levels, which, to be fair, pretty easy fix. I mean, if you just made Tails mech faster, you made the shooting a bit better, I think those levels would be pretty fire. And I think the same thing with Knuckles levels. If you just fixed the radar and made things a little bit more fast paced with some combat elements and stuff, you'd be golden, right? Because the Sonic and Shadow levels themselves are fire. You know, make those polished, make those look good. Another, I think you're set right there. Sonic Adventure 2 is probably the one they have to change the least in terms of at least like mainline story. Obviously, they'd have to probably modify the story a little bit. But yeah, I think first and foremost, I think most people would agree, we need to see how they handle Sonic Adventure 1 and 2 remakes before we jump into 3. And I think that would be a big deal. You know, I think they could even do, you know, I think that's also in a weird way. I don't want to be at a point anymore with Sonic where something is a test. I want something to work and stick and everything, you know? So I don't want it to be that, okay, Sonic Adventure 1 didn't land as well, let's see what they do with Sonic Adventure 2. No, like I think Sonic Adventure 1 and 2 need to be nailed, and I think people need to be happy about those, excited about those, and then we can get to Adventure 3, right? And I think that's going to be the big thing that Sonic team is ending up working on, right? So we're getting, you know, Shadow Gens. We're probably going to get a Frontiers 2. We'll probably get another remaster or remake of something, you know, just to show us, because we have yet to get a 3D Sonic game remade. Like, we just have not seen that. We've seen re-releases and everything, but we have yet to see a 3D Sonic game get a remake. It's very rare we get Sonic remakes in general, right? Obviously, you have Sonic Origins, which is like widescreen HD, and you can argue Mania in some ways a remake of a lot of the classics in 2D, but for 3D, we don't really have that. So it's going to be exciting to see once Sega and Sonic team dives into it, because we factually know they are. I mean, Sega has very openly said that they are working on a lot of remakes. You know, we see how they're doing it with Crazy Taxi, and we know they're doing it with Shinobi, we know they're doing it with Jet Set, a lot of their franchises. Not that Sonic needs a reboot, but they are gonna have Sonic remakes. That's just part of the plan. That's how the world works. And so once we get, you know, a few old school remakes in the can and we see how they handle it, then we can get to Adventure 3. But there is also the question of what kind of game do you make Sonic Adventure 3 right? Because obviously the characters in that universe are in a completely different place than they used to be, right? And what do you do? Do you make Adventure 3 its own thing? Because if you think about Sonic Adventure 1 and 2, they're pretty different, right? Sonic Adventure 1, every character has their own story, and they're all sort of like connected to, you know, Sonic's campaign. Like a lot of their levels are just, you know, different versions of characters, same levels, right? You think of Adventure 2, every character's levels are completely different, right? And what do you do for 3? Do you make it almost like Sonic Frontiers, where you have it so that it's one story where the gang has different playable sections? Or do you make it so that there's like a hero story, a dark story? Or do you give each character individual stories? Now, I am okay with them exploring, depending on how, you know, future games go. I'm down for them to explore the idea of one storyline campaign going on and characters have certain missions, right? Because I felt like that's kind of what I liked about Sonic Frontiers was, okay, in the Final Horizon DLC, you had your section with Sonic, then you had your section with Tails, Knuckles, and Amy. Now, obviously, that was a little limiting with how they handled it, where you'd always have to go to the Master Coco to swap a character. I would like for, you know, swappability to be more immediate. Maybe do it almost GTA style, where, you know, in like GTA 5, you can just select which character you want to be and choose what you want to do. I think that would be really cool to see something like that, where like every character is sort of in the world at the same time and they have just different missions and things to do. I think that'd be really interesting to explore for Sonic Adventure 3, right? But I also understand if they want to go, you know, more traditional level base for an adventure 3. It's a difficult one. Obviously, let me know in the comment section below what you would prefer in there, right? But like, what do you do for something that is so anticipated and something that has, at that point, Sonic Adventure 3, like, are you making it appeal to the classic, you know, adventure fans, or do you want to evolve the series? In my opinion, I think the best way to balance it is almost like Sonic 06, to be frankly honest with you, right? Obviously 06, you know, has a lot of issues, but I think that is the template you want to go with. But instead of, you know, maybe the towns being boring, you have them be more exciting, have them be like a playground, like almost how how Shadow Generations is having their open zone, how Sonic Frontiers is having an open zone. I think a playground hub world is the wave. I think that's going to be the future regardless, but then maybe have, you know, unique levels and areas that they go to depending on the story, right? It's a difficult one to tell where people would like it to see. And if anything, I'd love if Sonic Team decided that for us. I'd love if they did. For me, ideally, an evolution, right? If you're gonna make Sonic Adventure 3 the same way Sonic Adventure 1 and 2 are different, I think Sonic Adventure 3 needs to be different. I feel like the only thing that Sonic Adventure 3 needs, that I think fits the Sonic Adventure moniker, is having the cast play an important role in the story. I think that is like first and foremost, no matter what. I think Sonic Adventure is all about the cast, right? Because those games did a great job of not only highlighting Sonic, but highlighting all these other characters, right? You know, that's how we get our first highlights of Tails as a character, as Knuckles, as even Omega, right? And I would love to see some characters fleshed out like that. And I would love if they did with different characters. Like, could you imagine how interesting it would be to have Sonic Adventure 3 be like, all right, let's do Sonic's campaign. Let's try Blaze, you know, having a campaign in there. Let's try, you know, maybe the Chaotix have like a trio campaign in there or something. Like, obviously they're gonna have their main characters, like bring back the Chaos Emerald hunting with Knuckles, but maybe, you know, fuse Knuckles and Rouge's story together and have them swap out for different levels or different challenges they need. I don't know, I'd like some sort of evolution and highlight on different characters as opposed to let's go with the same ones we've got, right? Because obviously, you know, the ones we have are important and people like them, but hey man, give us a real, like, imagine Silver in an adventure style would be awesome. I mean, you could see that in Sonic 06, but have it be, you know, finish, have it be faster, have it be crazy. Like, I think they could do an incredible job with that. And so that's obviously a big deal when it comes to Adventure 3, is what style would it be? Like, obviously, let me know in the comment section. And I do think, to be frankly honest with you, and this is just my opinion, I do see ourselves in a world where Sonic Adventure also could take, you know, 20 years to come out, right? Obviously, it's a game I want to see, and I think my bold prediction is we're gonna live to see Sonic Adventure 3. I think it's going to happen at some point. You're gonna have to make that shit happen. You're gonna have to make dreams come true, and hopefully we're gonna be at a point where we want them to make that dream come true. But I think they're gonna do it. You know, it seems like it'll happen at some point. You know, it's like Sonic Team said themselves, once the stars align, I think that's when it'll be time. They will have that meeting where they talk about it and they get to it, right? But until then, we're just gonna have to get, a bunch of banger games and probably try a few different styles. We know that they've said the Frontiers open zone style is the next decade of Sonic. Like, they have blatantly said that. And obviously things change, plans can change, right? But I do think from like now to the year 2030, we're gonna be doing open zone. And I think once we enter 2030 and beyond is when I feel like we're gonna start entering Sonic Adventure 3 territory, because again, that is something that's the golden goose, man. Like, that's the dream, right? Whether you're a hardcore fan, whether you're a casual, like, that is going to draw so much attention, so many eyes the moment they announce Sonic Adventure 3, the moment we know they're working on it, right? Or even the day we find out they're remaking the adventure games is when we could start like turning our heads, because we're like, oh fuck, like, this is the beginning. And I really cannot wait to see what they end up doing, because like I said, from what I'm seeing with Shadow Generations is I'm like, these levels look a lot more like adventure levels to me, right? Where it's a linear path, but you have some, agency of choices of which path to take. But these are very reminiscent of adventure levels to me. And so more so than, the ones from Sonic Frontiers, which felt more, they were still kind of speed based, like boost formula like, whereas like with Shadow's campaign, yeah, you have a boost from the levels I've played, but it doesn't feel as emphasized as, using the Doom powers or just running around certain different areas from what we've seen in Kingdom Valley and even base arc that we've seen a lot of. So it's going to be really interesting to see what they start pulling and what they start doing. But again, I think we need to be in a better place with characters. I think we need to be in a better place company-wise. I think Sega and Sonic Team need to be in the best position they will ever be in for Sonic Adventure. Because like I said, you could not... I mean, Sonic could survive anything, right? Sonic survived 06. It survived Forces. It survived a lot of stumbles in its life. But man, surviving a Adventure 3 post-world where that didn't turn out great would be a nightmare, right? And I think you would lose a lot of the hardcore fans' trust. I also just don't think the team wants that at all. I think that's a game they're gonna have to play test over and over. Like, I would love to tell Izuka and the team, like, guys, like, if you ever make Adventure 3, play test that to the high heavens, man. Make sure that is the best thing, you guys make, or even top 5 things that Sega ever makes. You need that to be the golden goose. That's going to be something people remember forever and always. So I'm really, I'm excited to see what that potential game might be like. But also, I just want to talk about it. What's exciting about that, what might happen with it, when it might happen. But guys, of course, as always, I want to know what you guys think. What excites you about a potential Adventure 3? What do you want from it? What are you waiting for? And talk to me. Of course, I love you. Thank you all for watching. Of course, I'll see you all next time. Peace out.